Hey, what's cool, y'all? Welcome back to another video. And as you may know, a lot of Texans news happened in the past 24 hours. And the Houston Texans have hired Nick Caserio as their next general manager. And I have some mixed feelings about this. Yes, he's from the New England Patriots, and yes, he might bring the Patriot way that our Texans fans so dreadfully hate. And I'm just trying to be optimistic here, and I'm just hoping for the best. And as we are Kool-Aid Sports, we're going to try to keep it as optimistic as possible. And it's just cautious optimism, really. I just want to wait to see what Caserio actually does, including the hire of the head coach. And so some backstory: the Houston Texans have tried to hire Caserio in the past. He was blocked twice from interviewing with us, and that just goes to show you that how valuable the Patriots think Caserio is to them, right? So I just think that just says something, and I think he's been blocked before from other teams as well. And he's a very respected person around the league. He has 20 years of executive office experience, and he's been part of the Patriots' success since the very beginning, as he is a 6-time Super Bowl champion. And so that's why I think that Caserio could be a bit different from what we've seen from Patriots hires, is that he was there from the very beginning, not coming in at the middle of their process, but he was there at the very beginning. And some people will say that Caserio does lack in drafting, but who knows how much control Caserio has had in drafting players, seeing that Bill Belichick, one of the GOAT head coaches, who also acts as their general manager, is at the helm. And the Patriots front office tree is quite successful. They have had 15 people from their previous front office as a director level or higher, and that's pretty crazy in my opinion. And say what you want about their coaching tree, it may not be as successful, but I mean it is a bit successful with Rabel and Flores doing pretty well. But their front office tree is really good. So that's to say that Caserio could be really good for us, and just an underrated hire. And so the outrage that I totally get is that 90% Jack Easterby played a role in the hire, and then 10% of the outrage comes from Caserio wasn't on Corn's Ferry list, according to Mike Garafolo. But Patrick Storm, a Texans insider, has come out saying that the firm did have Caserio on the list, but he just wasn't their top candidate. And he further postulates that the GM interviewees like Omar Khan, who also had a lot of experience as a personnel executive, could be chosen as Caserio's staff. And that's just a guess, but who knows if that will happen. But the fact that Jack Easterby, who flew to Caserio and picked him up, is just really sketchy to me. And I'm really hoping what happens is that Caserio puts Easterby in his place, like in New England, as solely the character coach and nothing more or nothing less. And Caserio strikes me as that no BS kind of guy, obviously coming from New England and having learned from Bill Belichick. And I think Bill O'Brien, obviously, he tried to bring over that Patriots mentality and that DTS, STD, whatever you want to call it, smart, tough, dependable mindset, but I think he just didn't know how to execute it. And Caserio is preaching similar things too, but who knows, you know? And besides, no one can really replicate the Patriots way. And in addition, John McClain has said that Easterby has played no role in hiring Caserio, so maybe there's some hope that Caserio could fire him, but you don't bite off the hand that feeds you. And if Easterby did have a role, I doubt Caserio would fire him. But McClain has been wrong in the past, but he was one of the first to rumor the Caserio hire. So I'll just be cautiously optimistic since the start of the video. And the Texans did what they said they were going to do. They were going to hire a GM first, and now they did. So now we're going to see what kind of head coach they're going to hire, and Caserio is definitely going to play a part in that as well, just so that they're on the same page. And the three candidates that it has been boiled down to are Dabble, Brian Daboll from the Bills, offensive coordinator from the Bills, Matt Eberflus, the defensive coordinator for the Colts, and Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers. And these are 3 candidates that I would be really happy that we get. And I didn't say Bieniemy or Saleh because the Texans have not made it publicly known about their interviews to Bieniemy or Saleh. I hope they interview Saleh because he is the best defensive head coach out there, and I think one of the best personalities to be a head coach. But we'll see about that. And Lonnie Johnson kind of vouched for him. He said that I know Saleh will be a great head coach, and that's kind of interesting. And so before I move on to the head coaches, it was Patrick Storm did say that like after the hiring of Caserio, 5 players said that they weren't happy and they felt like their opinions weren't listened to. And Deshaun did put out a bit of a cryptic tweet saying that some things never change, but it may be in reference to the Jacob Blake police officer convictions, seeing that they weren't prosecuted. So maybe it might be about that because Deshaun is very passionate about social justice movements as well. And that news broke earlier yesterday. Sorry. So it could be in reference to that, but if it's not, and he is giving some shade about the hire, then I would be pretty worried because Deshaun's the only beacon of hope we have right now. So, anyways, let's get to the 3 head coach candidates that I mentioned. So Daboll, even though he didn't, I believe we didn't interview him, but he is rumored because he does share the same agent or representative as Jack Easterby and Nick Caserio, and he does have some New England ties. And Daboll is one of like the best offensive head coaching candidates out there. I think some people would put him higher than Bieniemy. And this season he's shown that he's created a potent offense, and he really developed Allen into an MVP candidate that is far more accurate than he was last year. And Allen has thrown 1,000 more yards since compared to his last season. So Daboll has really developed Allen into an amazing player. And the Bills are a pretty consistent offense, and except for a few games here and there, but the Bills are pretty consistent overall, and he has shown that he's open to adapting his scheme, taking concepts from other coaches, and just a general versatile play caller. So I really like Daboll, and if Easterby is going to be here, then getting Daboll wouldn't be a bad choice. Next is Matt Eberflus. He's a good head coach candidate, and in the fact that his defense has been solid, really good actually, and him and Ballard, the Colts general manager, has really turned around immensely struggling Colts defense into top 8 ranked defense this year. So Eberflus is known to make great second half adjustments, and he will definitely help our struggling defense. And all Watson needs is a competent defense, and he can basically take care of the offense. That's why I've been generally advocating for a defensive head coach, because I feel like Watson can basically take over the reins from there. And if you keep Tim Kelly or something, I don't know about what's going to happen to Tim Kelly, to be honest. Well, let me get to that. Joe Brady, actually, the Panthers offensive coordinator, and although he's 31 and does not have much NFL experience, he's a very intriguing hire. A lot of people say he's offensive savant. He's student of the game. He knows a lot about the X's and O's and stuff. And so this year, as offensive coordinator for the Panthers, he had 4 players with 1,000 scrimmage yards with Teddy Bridgewater at the helm. And Teddy is a mediocre QB at best, and he was without Christian McCaffrey for the majority of the season. Now imagine Deshaun instead of Teddy Bridgewater. So the potential with Brady is very high in my opinion, and getting new young coaches as your head coach is a new wave, with hires like Sean McVay in the past and Joe Judge, who are relatively young. So I think it would be a very interesting hire. And also, if the Texans were to hire Brady, it would signal that we aren't doing the Patriot way, as hiring young coaches for head coach isn't what the Patriots do. And at least it's been reported that we aren't hiring Josh McDaniels. So that's the good part. And I feel like if we were to hire Joe Brady, and Joe Brady has been interviewed with the Texans already, and reports are saying that he had an outstanding interview, and so since he might be the next head coach, and since he is a bit inexperienced, I feel like Tim Kelly could be potentially staying as offensive coordinator, just to have a familiar face with Deshaun, and because Joe Brady hasn't made that many like super deep connections in the NFL to really bring his own like coordinators, I can definitely see Tim Kelly staying in some capacity as offensive coordinator. And Tim Kelly did pretty well this season considering it was his first year, and all he needs is a bit of refining, and Joe Brady being an offensive head coach, he could fix the kinks in our offense, making it not as stagnant as it is on the first drive that we have, and preventing us from running up the middle on first down and things like that. So I feel like Joe Brady could be really good, and having Tim Kelly as offensive coordinator would be really helpful for Deshaun, having a familiar face in the building. So I feel like that could be a potential thing. Some more things about Caserio is that the Patriots' way of drafting is not really superstars, but they draft really solid players. And I feel like we've seen this season that Deshaun can make do with really anyone, like solid players or not. As without Fuller, he didn't have much drop-off from his production at all, basically. So if you give Deshaun anybody, he's going to make it work. That's how special Deshaun is. And I really hope Deshaun doesn't want out. And yeah, so I really hope that's pretty much it for the video. I really hope that Caserio ends up being good. We wanted him like 2 years ago or a year ago, but a lot has changed since then, obviously. So don't forget to start tweeting #FireEasterby on Twitter, and it is currently trending on sports and in the United States. So keep that trending. Hopefully the Houston Texans get attention of this and try to do something. I doubt he's going to get fired, but we have to do the best that we can, right? So that's pretty much it. Thank you all for watching, and see you all next time. Peace.